hosting you, Alex? Let's see what happens if. So, Alex, as a co-host, can you spotlight people? Okay, so I can continue to do that. We're going to do that plan where I'm going to spotlight them and you'll take them off the spotlight. At least that's the plan. Good morning, Hugh. Good morning, Derek. All right. We are all we're all getting here. I am I'll tell you guys, I am having a we had the audio. There's no echo that you can hear right now. Is there? There shouldn't be. We had to I was I was near tears about 10 minutes ago because the we couldn't get this echo to stop, and right now I can't hear so well what I normally hear because I'm wearing a headset, but it's working. There's no echo. We're good. I'm trying to not just shove my feelings of frustrations down into a really dark, small place far, far away and acknowledge that they exist and they're real, and at the same time transition into running a service. So, yes, ma'am. Oh, oh, that makes me feel a little better. Yeah. Was it echo problems or otherwise? Oh. Oh. Thank you. I'm not quite sure if I can blame just Zoom because we were having the problems elsewhere too, and I feel like a sports announcer with this headset. Okay. Well, I thank you. Uh, well, that I feel. Thank you. And also, when you first said it's not all about you, I appreciated that because I also took it to mean, Brian, calm down. There's an entire community of people here, and you don't have to hold. You don't. No, no. I said it to myself. Um, it's all good. Well, good. Go ahead, Alex. And then we're. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm hosting a party. Let me start the music. We're gonna get this party going here. Alrighty. Well, good morning, everybody. I am your host for today. Today is October the 16th, 2021. This is the Saturday service. It is a delight to have all of you here. There are people who are watching afterwards. There are a bunch of people who are here live with me right now. Hopefully, if I got the keystrokes right, we can say hi to all my friends who are here. Hey, there are friends. Friends, would you guys all wave? Wave to all the people who are watching this afterwards. Hey, Bruce. Hi, Afia. Hi, Barb. Good morning, James. Good to see all the people who are here. So, this is a very live and interactive service. This is a different kind of religious service, and I'm delighted that you have shown up. I want to say hi. Also, I know my friend Robin in Australia is watching this on replay, and anyone who's watching it not live, glad that you're here. If you are in a time zone where it's applicable to join this group of people, please do. If you go to rotb.org and at the towards the bottom, you can sign up for a newsletter and get 2 free downloads, and it will also send you the link so you can join us here live. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We have a bunch of things to talk about. I wanted to start with my friend Kip. There's Kip. Hi, Kip. Kip had said to me, you know, it's kind of odd. You keep talking about that the point of the service is to get through life. And I said, well, yeah, because I really like the quote from the artist formerly known as Prince. Well, he was known as Prince when he first said this phrase. He says, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life." And I just loved that phrase. But Kip kind of was a thorn in my side a little bit. And he says, Rabbi, there's got to be more than just getting through. And I was like, I don't really know what the heck the other point of this is. And I had this thought, well, I do know. And it came to me, what are we doing here? What is the point of this service? And the point of this service and all of the spiritual religious tools and the tricks and the thoughts that we've had, they're all leading towards one thing. And that's loving kindness. And that's what we're here to do. And if, surprise, if you didn't know that's what you were here to do, that's what we're all here to do. And my goal is to facilitate us having a discussion on what are some things we can do to help us have a little bit more love and kindness in our life. And I'm never quite sure if I'm saying love and kindness or loving kindness. But I think it's fine either which way. So welcome to this service where we're going to talk about love and kindness and loving kindness. As it has become our tradition here, we do take 1 minute for silent reflection, and our friend Joe reads the names of a few people who have asked to be put onto this Religion Outside the Box prayer list. So Joe, if you would be so kind, I'm going to spotlight you so you can be seen and tell us the names of all the people who we're adding to our special prayers today. Well, thank you for adding those names, and we're going to add to that the names of anyone who are dear on our hearts. And we're going to just take a minute. Alex, if you would do the unspotlight thing, I have lost my ability to do that. And we're going to just take a minute. Let's start at 8:05 and 10 seconds here on my clock, and we'll continue for 1 minute of silence. Well, we hope that everyone who needs peace in their heart finds more peace in their heart as the day continues. I wanted to tell you guys a story today, and it will fit into the review that we've been doing. Hold on, let me get to that one. It's a very bizarre little story. It's a story about orangutans, and I have to look how to spell orangutans because I couldn't remember it. Orangutans. It's about a set of orangutans which were trying to feed some nearby rats. So some nearby, that should be one word, rats. And I don't know if you can picture this in your head, but if you can think of a bunch of orangutans who are trying to feed some nearby rats, that would be great, because those are the letters that we want to keep track of right now. And I mentioned this long time ago at a service, and I wanted us to come back to it. And it's OTFNR. OTFNR. Orangutans try to feed nearby rats. I came up with the acronym trying to make it as visual as possible so that we'd have a chance of remembering it. Orangutans try to feed some nearby rats. And these are two lessons that we've gotten from... oh my goodness, I am hitting all the wrong keys today. Orangutans try to feed nearby rats. Folks, if you would... I know it's ridiculous to do on Zoom because we're all talking at the same time, but can you all say that same phrase for me? Oh my goodness. There's the Zoom hell. All right, one more time on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. That was fantastic. That was just cacophony, and I loved it. And if you were just to take the first letters of each of those words, it would be O-T. Can you get the other ones? OTFNR. And this is the thoughts of a very brilliant man named Marshall Rosenberg. And we're going to start with the OT part. And I have... some of you objected last week because I changed some of the letters from the way that I originally had taught this and shared this with you. But I've with the orangutans try to feed some nearby rats, you'll see how these fit together. The O is for observe, and the T is for think. These are two separate things, what we observe and what we think. And we had done this with these two little stick puppets a long while ago. I'll bring them back out for us to see. There are the things that you observe. You don't have a choice about that. Your mind naturally will go to, you'll hear a sound, you'll smell a smell, you'll see a sound, you'll hear a sound, or you'll see a sight. You don't have much choice about what you observe. But about what you think, that's a different thing than what you observe. And they happen so close together that we often don't notice that they're separate. And if we train ourselves, and it can take a lot of work, but it's worth it, is that when we think, Rabbi's wearing a stupid headset today. I hate that. That's a thought that we've come up with. The observation is I noticed that Rabbi's wearing a headset, and the thought is separate from the observation. This is a really key thing to do in our lives. This is one of the Krishnamurti said it is one of the greatest parts of a conscious life is the ability to not believe everything we think. What we observe, we should believe. But what we think about what we observe is not necessarily something that we should do. So let me bring everyone back on screen and hit all the right keys. And can I ask you, at this moment right now, what's something you're observing? What's something you observe right now? I just observed Rob in square number C4 in my on my grid. I just observed Rob blowing some vapor out of his mouth. What else did you observe? What have you what did you observed? You can hear my voice, right? That's an observation. It's something you observed. What else did you get? Murph. Oh, okay. You have a cat. You've observed the cat in your lap. I observed that I had no idea what Rob was talking about for a moment. What else? Give me one or two other things that you're observing right now. One of the things that comes to mind. Right? You observe the people on the screen. And now let's see if we can keep track of the difference. So I observed that I didn't understand what Rob was talking about, and then I might have had a thought about it like, gosh darn it, Rob, what are you doing? But that's a thought that's separate than the observation. Or, gosh, I love Rob. He's doing his own thing. That's a thought. It's not the observation. They're separate. I discerned and noticed that someone said something. I don't know who's speaking. Oh, oh, okay. Well, okay. No, that's a great one. That's perfect. Thank you, whoever that was. Anyone get annoyed by that? Was anyone slightly? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for being honest. The very few people whose heads moved. Um, you observed. You got annoyed. Annoyance. Being annoyed is which one? Being annoyed is a thought, or is it the observation? Which one is being annoyed? That's a thought, right? What was the observation? So when you have a thought, you can always look inside and go, what was the thing I observed before I had the judgment, before I had the thought? There was sound. There was sound, and then I had a thought about that sound. Give me another example of a thought that you're having right now, and if you can tie it to a judgment or you can tie it to the observation. Okay, so you observed Hannah's making breakfast. Hannah has been working on her car during some of these calls. Hannah does lots of things during the Saturday service. We observe that. If you have a judgment or a thought about it, like, wow, Hannah's awesome, you're right. Or if you have a thought about it, gosh, what the heck's wrong with Hannah? Why can't she sit still? That's a judgment. That's not true. That's just a thought. Let's see if we can get one more. Can someone give me a yeah, Jess has a dog sleeping beside them. Yes, Jess has a dog sleeping beside them. Okay, that's a observation. I observed that Emily used the gender pronoun she to describe Jess, who goes by they them. Now I observed that. Now let's see if can you notice, was there a thought behind what I just said? And I know what I said. What was the thought that followed? Right, there was that, or maybe there was the thought of, oh my gosh, I feel ashamed. Or maybe there was a thought, yeah. It does get a little bit dicey, and it does get a little bit hard. Sometimes you don't notice it. I can notice that I feel I can notice that I feel upset, but the thought that I apply to the you made me upset when you did that, that's not the feeling. The feeling is separate from the thought. And we're really trying to divorce the two out. I want to go to something that just happened because it reminded me of another thing that I had. We're going to have a very quick talk about, if I asked you and then I promised, oh, let's do a quick review. What were the 5 letters about the orangutan? Orangutans. What was the sentence we had? Orangutans. Right. Orangutans try feeding nearby rats. Okay, great. I'm going to give us a little thing about Now, let's say I said to you, and I can say to I could say to Rita or to Joy or to Bobby or to Arnold, to Al. I'm trying to make sure I say everyone's name so everyone feels welcome. Or to Derek. And I say, hey, you got a little bit of, there's on the side of your sweater, there's a little bit of dirt. Maybe I say to you, hey, you got a little bit of breakfast stuck in your teeth? If I said that to you, and let's say I didn't, let's say even I did it in this public setting, and I said, "Hey, Anne, you got a little, your hair is kind of a little bit wonky over on this side," right? How offended would any of you be if I said that, compared to if I said something like, "Hey, you might have just used the wrong gender pronouns on someone"? I want you to weigh the difference between the two. If somebody says to you, hey, you got a little bit of broccoli between your teeth, or somebody says to you, you use the wrong gender pronouns, and then I'm going to take it one step even further, and this is the work of a man named Jay Smooth, and he pointed this out, especially around race and racism, that if somebody says something that is racist, and somebody calls them out, it's as though something horrible has happened. And sometimes, if it's a blatant attempt to be racist, of course. But if accidentally somebody says something, I had a colleague recently say, oh, we should have a powwow about that. And I said, hey, Josh, I don't know that you know, but powwow's not really the coolest phrase for you to be using. Right? And Jay Smooth says the same thing about race. If somebody points out that you said something racist, can you hear it as though they just said to you? Or can you say to someone, as opposed to going, gosh damn it, you're racist, instead of saying it with so much heat behind it, can you just say it the same way you would say, you got some broccoli? Hey, what you just said was a little bit racist. Or what you said was a little bit gendered, or a little bit ableist, or a little bit whatever it is we're trying to avoid. We all right with that little lesson? And then we'll get back to the orangutans that are trying to feed nearby rats. Commentary, thoughts? And Emily, thank you. And Jess, thank you for helping us with that example. Live. Go ahead, Em. Yeah. Right? So, and that's how we learn. We learn by making mistakes. I once was on a panel, and then I promise we'll get back to the orangutans trying to feed nearby rats. I was once on a panel, and they asked me, right, we went through what all the different participants had learned, and someone said to us on the panel, what did you learn? And I remember what I said was, I realized in this program that I learn the most when I make mistakes. And how unfortunate it is that I try so hard to not make mistakes. Right? I learn the most when I make mistakes. Well, do I want to learn or don't I? Which brings me to the chess match that Jordan did not win last week. Okay, but I learn every time we play. I don't know why Jordan still wants to play. He's not learning as much as I'm learning, but that it's about learning. Okay, great. Let's get back to, what were the 5 letters? Can you give me the 5 letters with the orangutans? O, T, F, and O, T, F, and R. And we're going to zoom in now. Hold on. There. We're going to zoom in. So the OT, that's why I put the T in parentheses. That's one lesson, is the difference between observation and thoughts. And then the other thing that O, F, and R, so we get rid of the T, and just O, F, and R. This is a brilliant concept from Marshall Rosenberg. And he said that when we have an issue with someone, and I've used this technique as recently as this week in my own marriage, is that when we get into an issue with someone, we should use this: observe, feel, need, respond. Observe, feel, need, respond. That instead of saying, hey, I'm really pissed off you've come to this meeting late 3 times in the past week. That's just an imaginary scenario. Instead of saying it that way, and this takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of time, and it's not as fun as yelling at somebody. Y'all hear that part? Not as fun as yelling at somebody. And let's all admit, can we all admit for a moment, it's kind of fun to yell at somebody? Sometimes it can be really cathartic to yell at somebody, but we're going to try not to do that so much. OFNR goes like this. I've noticed, I've observed that the past 3 meetings we've had, you have shown up late. It's an observation. It's just a fact. Nobody can argue with that. The feel is, that makes me feel sad. That makes me feel abandoned. That makes me feel angry. Here's a big one, folks. If you find yourself saying, I feel that you don't care, anything that comes after the that, I feel that blank, it's not a feeling. If you're saying, I feel that, it's not a feeling. Feelings are the things that 3-year-olds feel. You know that picture of the face, and it's like happy, sad, angry, lonely, and all the confused. If it's a feeling, you don't use the word that. I've noticed that you're... Yes, Barb, my friend. Correct. We don't want to do that. We don't want to say, I feel that, or it makes me feel that. You don't. Nobody has that power. I observe that. If I said it incorrectly, I really appreciate you cleaning that up for me. I observe that you're late. I feel sad. Oh, I did say it the wrong way. Thank you, Barb. I just said it the not better way. That's how I did it. Barb and I planned this ahead of time so that I could model what it looks like to learn in real time. Nobody suspected a thing, did they? Okay. I observe that you come late. I feel sad about that. Now, need, I don't understand why Marshall Rosenberg used the word need, because then he was just going to say, don't ever use the word need. You need water, you need air, you need food. You don't need the person to change. He said you should say, I'd like or I want to feel partnered. And then I'd like a... Yeah, Kip. Hierarchy of needs. Yeah, now that's a whole nother ball of potatoes, Maslow. So if and oh, well, here we go. I'm going to be corrected again. This is good. This is going really well. This is exactly how I like this to go. Yeah. I would like. Yeah. Yeah. So, how about this? Yeah, Ray, go ahead, and then I'll. Mm. Oh, it's a good question, Ray. So, you need to. Okay. It could be. Well, and Jocelyn, you're absolutely right, and that will bring us back to. Do you remember we talked about Tamakatri Roy? The meaning of communication is in the response elicited, regardless of intention. Oh, and so all of what we're talking about all comes together. These things all come together. What I would like to ask us to do in the next week is to practice just on the first steps of this. Instead of saying you're late, I hate it, you're a jerk, or whatever it is, I observe, and you that separating out observing from how it makes you feel in responding to people. And let's try that in this next week. Okay. I'm going to take a moment. Hold on. And I'm going to bring up this page here. Hi, I'm Rabbi Brian. You might remember me from things like a moment ago when I said, Hi, I'm Rabbi Brian. If you would like, I have taken all of what we have been talking about for this is week 77, and I made these beautiful pictures, and you can see on the bottom of this one, here's the OFNR right down there. And then I wrote up in this PDF, and you can get a copy of this. And Alex, I think, just put it in the chat. If you would like a copy of my notes, I know we did a lot of review last week. This is everything that we've talked about and been reviewing. Those are all available on Etsy, and all of your purchases go to support this ministry. So thank you for that little commercial break. Um, Hold on. Is there a topic that came up last week that you feel, oh boy, we sure do need more review about that? Is there something that we talked about that you just want to go over again? If there is, let me know. I have another thing that I wanted to talk about today. Oh wait, I have a question. Orangutans try feeding what? Nearby rats. And for those of you who are new to the Saturday service, I taught high school math for a lot of years, and I was challenged by a principal once um, to teach it so that students had zero homework. Because I've done studies, and homework doesn't actually help. And so I had to learn to teach, and that's why I keep going back and making people say things over and over again, is to try to reinforce some of the mnemonics. Okay, I have a great topic today. This one is fantastic. It will answer the question, you're not going to like it, but it's going to answer the question, what makes them evil? You know all those people who you're pissed off at right now? Those people who are evil and annoying? I'm going to talk today, and we're going to find out what makes them evil. This is from the work of Catherine Schultz. And you might remember Catherine Schultz, her name, because she's the one who taught us about mistakes. And her talk about mistakes, if you remember, she says, what does it feel like? She asked, what does it feel like when you make a mistake? And the answer was, what it feels like when you make a mistake is It feels like nothing when you make a mistake. Why does it feel like nothing when you make a mistake? You don't know it's a mistake. And if you don't know it was a mistake when you made the mistake, ought you be mad at yourself when you make that mistake? No. I'll answer that one for you. And then the harder one is if somebody made a mistake and they didn't know they made the mistake, ought you forgive them? And the answer is, I'll give you a hint. It starts with yes. That's a really hard thing to do. It's a really hard thing to do. And it makes the news when somebody has forgiven the person who has assaulted them. Why does it make the news? Because because it's awesome. And I want us all to get better at forgiving people when they make a mistake. And start with the small things. Start with the person who made the mistake of forgetting to use their blinker. Start with the mistake of whatever, something small. Let me get to her part about what makes them evil. What makes them evil? Here's how it goes. Mom, I'd like to go to the mall. Well, let me do it like I'm acting it out. Mom, I'd like to go to the mall. No. The first thought is that the person is lacking the facts. Mom, I'd like to go to the mall. No. But I need a new pair of jeans. The first assumption if they say no to us is obviously they don't have all the information. Mom, I'd like to go to the mall. No. But I need a new pair of jeans. You tell them so they're no longer lacking the fact. No, says Mom in the same scenario. I'd like to go to the mall. No, but I need a new pair of jeans. I'm not taking you to the mall. But you said that I should take my appearance seriously, that you didn't like my old jeans, so I need you to take me to the mall to get the new jeans. The next thought is that they are lacking the reasoning. They have the facts, but there's something faulty about the way that they're thinking. Mom, I'd like to go to the mall. No, but I need a new pair of jeans. I'm not taking you. But you said I should take my appearance seriously. Okay, you're lacking the reasoning. I'm not taking you to the mall. The next step in our brains, this is what our brains do, is we say, Mom, you hate me. If they have all the facts, and we know that they are capable of reason, the next thought we have in our head as to why they don't do the thing that we wish they would do is they are evil people. I don't know if you have anybody in your life who you disagree with about masks or vaccines. But see if this doesn't hold. They're lacking the facts. If they just understood what the ramifications of their actions are, fuck them, they're evil. I know you guys are all the saints in the world who don't ever have this thought. But in case you did, just notice the pattern. This is what human beings do. They are doing the same things with us. Right? They're looking at us saying, well, they don't have all the facts. They're not thinking about it properly. They're libtarded. Okay? We do jump to evil real quick. Anyone ever been in a Facebook thread? It devolves to somebody calling someone else a Nazi very quickly. That's true. That's true. Oh, let's talk about arguments for a second. Do we have time? We have time. Okay. Here's another little tidbit. Show of hands. How many of you have ever been persuaded to change your mind During an argument. That's good. Keep your hands down, like two people. Most of the time when we argue, we're not arguing with the other person to change their mind. We're arguing with the other person to convince the people around us that we're more right than they are. I heard that and it just opened my whole brain up. That most arguments between people are not just between the two people arguing, but it's a grab to who can get more people on their side. And so we're not really arguing with the person across from us, we're arguing to get people on our side. I thought that was fascinating. If you like it or not, that's up to you. You've observed it, and what you do with the thinking of it, I'll let be. I want to make a few announcements. I did that. If you're not a member of the Religion Outside the Box online clubhouse, there have been two great things that have happened. One, we all learned this word. It's a great word. Latitudinarian. We didn't have to say the word because it's an online forum. But latitudinarian, that word means holding a wide view of religious beliefs. It's a shame that it's not an easier to say word, or I think more people would use it. So we learned that word. If you aren't a member of the ROTB Clubhouse, please feel free to join at mn.rotb.org. And there's also another group that just started, and it's got a lot of feet behind it, which is called A Jew of My Favorite People. And it's a forum for people who have converted to Judaism or are thinking about converting to Judaism and want a place to be able to chat with each other. You can find that group also at mn.rotb.org. Okay, good. Other announcements. Oh, folks, hi. How many of you have listened to Mary Hines' program? And when I say program there, it's MME. I'm using the double M. Listen to Mary Hines' program called Tapestry. If you live up in Canada Town, which is just slightly north of Portland, and you've listened to Mary Hines' program Tapestry, would you do this rabbi a favor? Email her and say, hey, I think it's time to have that rabbi on your show again. Well, thank you for doing that. Thank you, Rob. And anyone else who has done that, please do. 2 o'clock week. Please do, Rob. Explain a little bit. Okay. I thank you, Rob. Thank you. I do like things to fit into boxes. It makes me very happy. You know why? Because it makes some order out of the chaos. Which I found that's a different matrix. I gotcha. A few other announcements. Please invite folks to this service or to get the newsletter if you enjoyed that. I'd appreciate that. November is going to be Gratitude Month. So we're going to be discussing gratitude the whole month of November. And next week, as promised, you're welcome. Next week, as promised, will be quiz about everything that we've talked about for the past however many. And it's not like quiz like it's just we're going to have it's going to I would say it's going to be fun, but that's my opinion about it. It's going to be an opportunity for us to just see what it is that we learned, what it is that we've remembered. We've done a lot of things, and if you haven't been here before, it would be a great time to catch up and learn about a bunch of things that we've talked about. And no grades. How about this? I will enter into the grade book. Everyone's already gotten an A. You already have an A. You don't have to worry about it. This is just a chance to see what it is that we know and what it is we want to refresh ourselves with. Other announcements. Oh, I wanted to read to you something. I thought this was so dear. So I've told you about my friend James. He's in prison. And last week I told you. Do you guys remember I told you what he wrote back about the question about God and being kind? Yes? Okay, so last week we talked about that, and then this week I got the mail gets kind of stopped up, and sometimes I get bunches of letters of his at a time. And he's been publishing books. He's been putting these books together, and this is one of the latest ones, Why We Must Initiate Justice. And you can see there are all these different co-authors at the bottom. And he wrote to me as to why he did that, and I wanted to share it with you. He said, here, many of these men wanted to write books and tell their stories all their lives. You should see the expression on their faces when they get that copy with their name on it. It is priceless, a dream come true. So I may lose my money, ain't got much of that, but it's bigger than money with me because I don't see it as a waste if I'm helping someone achieve something. I just think it's such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing. And we are working on, he just sent me another manuscript, so we're going to publish another set of books from people who are in jail. And something else that he wrote in this one, which I loved, was he said, and the kindness is bearing fruit. You'd be surprised at how many of these men, from being former white supremacists and conspirators, hated Jews and didn't really know why. So when I'm always talking about Rabbi Brian and they read your 77%, it's like shining into the darkness, light shining into the darkness. I get to see that process. It's bigger than money. And then he continues on. If you would like, Alex has been pen paling with James for years, as I have. Alex, can you put James's address in the chat? If you just write him a note, and he's on 23 hours a day in his cell. So anything that you can write to him, just write him a bad joke. It doesn't matter. Just give him something to keep his mind sharp, and it's a blessing. You don't have to put your return address if you're scared. I was scared when I started writing to him, and now that I'm writing to him, like, what the hell was I scared about? Like, it's whatever. So please write. Let's do a quick review of something. What have we talked about today? What are some of the letters that I can put in boxes to put on this piece of paper? Yeah, we got O. Let's start with that. We got the O and the T. What was that? And then we'll get to that. And observation and thought. And what did we learn about observation and thought? That they are one and the same? No. They're different. And that the more space that we can put between them, the better we are. And the more we don't just believe our thoughts, the better off. And then we started to play with this one, and I will do more practice on it, is the OFNR. Orangutans try feeding nearby rats. And let's just start with the first letters of that one, is the O and the F, is that if we have a disagreement with someone, we should try to say to them first, this is what I've noticed. Yeah, this is what I'm observing. No judgment to it. These are just the facts. And then, right, I feel that you're not listening to me. Well, what's wrong? What's wrong with the phrase I just said? That if we have a feeling, feel feelings are not I feel that. It's I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel lonely, I feel tired, I feel happy, I feel disrespected is not a feeling. Sorry. I feel unheard. Okay. And what else did we get today? There was something else we learned about learning about broccoli in your teeth. I don't know how to spell broccoli. Two L and two C's. Spinach. It, I'm what do we learn from if somebody says you got spinach in your teeth? Yeah. We take it without getting so upset and getting, as my students used to say this word and I didn't understand it at all. They would say, "Don't get so buttered about it." And I said, "What the heck are you saying? Buttered?" They said, "No, buttered." I said, "Bothered?" They said, "No, butt hurt." And then I like buttered better. Um, So if somebody says we have spinach in our teeth, we don't take it so personally. I'm going to go back to an exercise we did a long, long time ago. Hold on a second. Here we go. Yeah, okay, so some of you know the punchline of this one. If you get a tissue and somebody offers you this tissue, what do you say? Thanks, but you simply say no thank you. And if somebody offers you some disrespect, well, you're an idiot. Can you can you say the same no thank you? Can you be as detached from it? And I'll give you this to practice as well. Take a tissue. You do not need to blow your nose in it. That is optional. Take a tissue and put it in your pocket. And let it stay there to remind you that you always have the right to say no thank you. Somebody says you got spinach in your teeth, you don't take it too personally. Somebody says, hey, you just said something ableist, you just misgendered somebody by their pronouns, or you just said something slightly racist. You don't need to get offended by it. You don't need to get buttered. You can be butter free. Okay. I want to go back. I want to do one other thing. So at the 9 o'clock hour, where's my time? There it is. At 9 o'clock, we do something called the second hour. If you haven't been here previously, the second hour is I leave some people in charge of different rooms. And Joe and Maria, are you guys going to run the donuts today? And Kip and Al, you both are here and ready to do deep dive. There's a deep dive group, thank you. And there's often a poetry room, which if you have a poem that you want to share, sometimes people are only in the poetry room for 10 minutes, is to go in the poetry room, share a piece of poetry, and then join one of the other rooms. Or you don't have to stay for the second hour. Hey, you know what? You didn't have to stay for this hour either. So let me thank you. I think this is a remarkable thing. This has been, I'm going to take a moment just to be, I set out when I got Before I was ordained as a rabbi, I knew there had to be a different way of doing this. I knew there had to be a way of promoting a holy life, to promote a life where we felt spiritually whole without particularism, without saying this is the path and it's our group's proprietary way of doing things. I knew there had to be a way of doing it. I had no fucking clue how. I didn't know we were going to invent Zoom. I didn't know there was going to be a pandemic to make it happen. I didn't know I was going to wind up being a high school teacher so I'd be really good at teaching stuff. But it's happened. And you guys are all here and you're all here voluntarily and it's I'm so proud. I'm so happy. So thank you guys for all being. I'm going to just take a moment to look at all the people whose faces are on the screen because I didn't do that last week and I wanted to. So, yay. Thank you. Okay, now before one last thing to talk about today. Tamakatri Roy. Tamakatri Roy. I'm writing it down and you guys can't see what I'm writing. Tamakatri Roy. That's what it says. Tamakatri Roy stands for the meaning of communication is in the response elicited regardless of intention. A few weeks back, and Barb, you and I talked about this, and I have Barb's permission to talk about it with all of you. Bunch of weeks back, I failed to acknowledge my friend Barb in a group. I had said hello to other people, but I didn't say hi to Barb. And then it happened a second week. And Barb very good, and she knew this part. Hey, Rabbi, I noticed you didn't say hi to me. Made me feel bad. The meaning of my communication is in how she took it, not in how I meant it. The meaning of communication is always in how the other person receives what it is we said. And if somebody says to me, Rabbi, you really insulted me by not listening to me during the service. I don't care if 48, how many people we have here, if 50 people all agreed with me, but the one person said I was offensive. Was I offensive? Well, I offended them. Yeah, I offended them. It's still real, and I think it's worthy for all of us to remember that we have to take all the voices in. All right, let's do a quick help. At the end of the service, before I upload the video and then add Lee's transcription in, I send out the 2-point summary of what happened today. Hey, kids, what do you think would be on our 2-point summary today? What are some of the things that we learned? Well, we learned. Okay, now if I send out a thing that said OTFNR, that's going to be absolutely meaningless to about 3,150 minus the 51 of you. It's to most people. So what can I tell them? Thank you, Rita. So we could talk about separating the observation from the thought. Yes, Hugh, you have something. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. I would, if I may add to that, is all of these little tools, like the one about going from not understanding to not logical to evil, they're all tools to help us make sense out of life, to make sense out of these bizarre human vessels that we are in our bizarre societies, is all to help us make sense so that we can experience life more fully and hopefully experience more love and less hate. Thank you, Hugh. Somebody else who would like to help ghostwrite the 2 bullet point summary. I might go with the broccoli in your teeth piece. I kind of like that. Yeah. Uh, oh, there's also another class that's coming up. It's this one. It's a 3 session class with me starting November 3rd. Can you hear me while the music's playing? Okay. So it's a 3 session class, and here's going to be me
Hi,
talking.
I'm Rabbi Brian. Aren't you curious? I hope you are, and I hope you can join me for a 3 session taste of Judaism. See you there.
I don't know what, I have no idea what happened, but November 3rd, 10th, and 17th, I'm going to be running a 3 session, hour long each session class. Just trying to, we're, we're not going to get through all of Judaism, but we're going to have a good time trying. Thank you for reminding me about that, Alex. And let me get back to, no, no, oh, come on. There we are. Back to there. There we go. Okay, folks, we are coming to this same time boundary where I like to hand over the reins to Alex. Alex, who's going to, if you already know how to do this part, go, the rooms are already open. If you don't, stick around. Alex will help you, and Joe and everyone else. Let me wave and say goodbye. Everyone, would you wave and say goodbye to each other? Bye, folks. So see you next week. The attendance list. Oh, yeah, that, you know what? I didn't have time for that this week. You're due a full refund. Bye, folks.